Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Thursday, June the 15th, 2017. Good to have you all here for our second of two shows this week. Again, apologize for the late start. I'll get to that in a minute. What happened with that in a minute. As always, though, let me start off by reminding you all the ways in which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411. For anything to tweet regarding our show. And of course, as this is a wrestling show tonight, we do have a second hashtag tonight. Sorry for that echo. I apologize. Hit the wrong button there. We do have a second hashtag tonight. That is hashtag ITS Wrestling. And of course, you can also find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page once you're on or once you find it. All right, so we're on the air here late tonight. Got home a little late, kind of the same situation as before Tuesday, but still, kind of hung back a little bit. So I apologize for that. That's what happens when you work two jobs and you have other stops to make and other things that get in the way. But anyways, we're here, we're on the air, and that's all that matters. So I apologize again for the late start. And here we go. And tonight, of course, as I mentioned, an all-wrestling show. We'll be previewing WWE SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, Money in the Bank, which will be taking place this Sunday on the WWE Network. It's a very popular pay-per-view, one of my favorites. I know that, so it's always good to. It's always a good time to watch it and check it out. It's one of my favorite ones, and I wish it was a multi-brand, but it's not. So, but anyway. That's what we got going on this Sunday. WWE Network, the SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, WWE Money in the Bank. We'll preview it. We'll go over all the matches, make predictions as we always do, all that good stuff. And then we will, as always, take questions and comments from the fans as much as time allows. And we are on the air later tonight, so we might not do as much as we would have, but I digress. So that's what's on tap for tonight. Now, a couple of tidbits going forward here. Next week, I mentioned earlier in the week that we would be having two shows next week. That is not true. We are only having one show next week, and it'll be on Tuesday. It'll be a sports entertainment combo show. So we'll do all usual entertainment stuff, box office beat, TV highlights, all that good stuff. And on the sports side of things, really the only thing we're going to do, we'll probably talk a little bit about the U.S. Open. I didn't do that on Tuesday. I didn't think it was worth mentioning. Phil's not in it, Tiger's not in it. There wasn't really a whole lot to set up there. But we'll talk about, if there's anything we're talking about with the U.S. Open, we'll do it. And any other sports headlines we have to cover. But the biggest thing we'll have to cover on Tuesday is the NBA draft. And we'll do our usual pre-draft analysis, preview kind of thing. And then, of course, we'll do a post-draft as well the following week and kind of go over everything in detail like we always do. But that will be our main goal on Tuesday, is to preview the NBA draft. And go over all that. So we'll do that on Tuesday. That'll be the bulk of the show on Tuesday. So Tuesday will be a full show, and then we'll cover, of course, wrestling, the fallout from Money in the Bank, Monday Night Raw, all that good stuff on Tuesday. So Tuesday will be a jam-packed show. Now that's Tuesday. The reason why I'm only going to do one show, and I should have mentioned this on Tuesday, I guess since I've been mentioning the draft, but I keep forgetting that the draft is on Thursday of next week. The way that things have played out, I just keep forgetting that it's on. In fact, I'm going to check right now because for some reason I keep thinking that it's on. See, that's why I didn't say anything. I thought it was on the week after. No, it is next Thursday. Okay, so I am right. All right, so next Thursday is the NBA draft. So that's why we have to do the draft preview on Tuesday. And that's why we're not going to do a show on Thursday. We never do a show opposite the NBA draft. And for those that wonder why we don't do a show opposite the NBA draft, but we do a show opposite the NFL draft, because the NFL draft lasts for 4 days and the NBA draft's one night. So it's a little bit, and I know it shouldn't be, I know it shouldn't really make a difference, but the NBA draft tends to be, in my opinion, more known. More people, check it out. I know the NFL draft is highly rated and stuff, but it goes over 4 days. People can keep up with it. With the NBA draft, I feel like there's some urgency there, and people, and people might not be paying as much attention to us if we're on the air opposite the draft because it all happens in one night. So I don't know. We've always done it, so that's what we're going to do. So there'll be no show next Thursday because of the NBA draft. And of course, like I said, the following week after, we'll do an NBA draft analysis and all that good stuff. So next week, one show on Tuesday. Next Thursday, we will be preempted. And the week after that, we are only going to do two. The week after that, we will do 2 shows. And that will probably be the last week we do 2 shows until September. Unless something comes up in the middle of the summer, which we have a reason to, but that'll probably be the last week we do it. I thought before that we might stop, but I think we'll do 2 that week. So, and we'll get into what those shows are going to entail and all that kind of stuff as we get closer to it. But yeah, and as I said, over the next couple of weeks, we'll start the TV awards process, and of course, like I said, next week, NBA draft preview, and then after that, we'll do a post-draft kind of analysis and all that kind of stuff. So that's what's coming up. That's what's going to be going on next week. And there you go. This is a wrestling show, like I said. So if you're somebody out there that has yet to submit a question or comment and you'd like to, you can still do so during the show, even if you haven't done it already, by email, Facebook, and Twitter. So please keep that in mind. My co-host Mike is on the air. Mike, you're in the spotlight. Are you able to talk? Okay, there you go.
Yes, I can. I turned my mic off. Because
okay, all right. I just want to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that you were good because, as you noted on Tuesday,
because YouTube and Google are having problems, which is why you're late again. Am I right?
Actually, no, but I'll rehash all that later. I already explained that what happened with me, but I'll explain to you off the air because I don't want to waste time. But to your point, we did have some issues on Tuesday night with sound and other things. So please do keep in mind, as far as I'm told, it shouldn't be an issue tonight, but you never know. So let's keep that in mind. Because Tuesday we had a ton of problems. You were right about that. And I thought you were right anyway, but you were completely right. We had a ton of problems with sound and all kinds of things. So just bear that in mind. Yeah. So if you if anybody notices anything, please do let me know because we're not supposed to have any issues. But if we do, let me know. All right, so let's get right down to business because we got a pay-per-view to talk about, and it shouldn't take us very long because there ain't when we do these brand exclusive pay-per-views, it doesn't take very long to get through them. It really doesn't. It's kind of like you just go match to match, and especially on a show like this where you got multi person matches, and it kind of so we don't have a lot to do here, which is good. So we'll get right into it. I'm just trying to bring up the card because it's not coming up right immediately here. Now it is. Okay. And this is going to be a historic pay-per-view because it's going to be the first time we have a women's Money in the Bank match. So we'll talk about that too. It's going to be a big, big deal, that. So, all right. So let's go right into the card. As we always do, we'll start off with I don't know if there's any pre-show matches. Oh, right here. Yeah, there is. Okay. So we'll start with the pre-show matches and then work our way onto,
the main card.
Yeah, the main card. I'm sorry. I just got distracted by something because apparently when I clicked on this, it pulled up matches from 2016. Okay, so apparently I got the wrong.
Type in Money in the Bank 2017.
Well, I went to the website and I saw Money in the Bank this Sunday, clicked on it, and thought naturally it would go to the right card. Clearly, I was wrong about that. I apologize. All right, here we go. I just did what Mike suggested, and it looks like it worked better. So there you go. All right, so I got the card now. So, I don't think any kickoff matches have been announced. Doesn't look like any are on here. So, all right, so we'll get to the card. We'll just go over the matches that we have. Obviously, a kickoff match or two might be announced. Obviously, there's always matches that sometimes go unannounced and get added late. So it could be those matches, but we don't know what those are, so we're not going to talk about them. If we don't know what they are, we can't talk about it.
Fact, you should probably expect Luke Harper versus Aiden English.
That would be one. And if that's the case, I would expect Luke Harper to win.
Luke Harper,
yeah.
There's no surprise there.
Right. So that's one idea as a possible match that could be added. But, and again, you all know the drill. Okay, if you've been around these pay-per-views enough, sometimes they'll add kickoff matches late, or they'll add additional matches to their card, or additional segments. You all know how that works. So we'll just talk about the matches that we do know are definitely on the card, and we will start off first with SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos versus the New Day. The New Day coming back after a short little hiatus. They've been pretty much gone since the superstar shakeup in April due to an injury to Kofi Kingston. Now, look, here's the thing. I'm going to start off just because I think this match can go pretty quickly here. Here's the thing. The New Day is we all know the New Day is going to win these titles. All right, it's a given. The question is, do they decide to put this off? Just to add more juice to the feud and extend it longer if they don't have, and really it all depends what they got planned for the tag team division, but I don't think it's much. Oh, and then we're going to put the titles on a New Day. So I could see them having the Usos cheat here and put this off until maybe even SummerSlam and have the New Day win there. Because that's what, that might be, they know people know the end game here, so they might just put it off just to add more to it. And to extend this feud out until they figure out what they're going to do once New Day finally do win the titles. So, look, these guys have faced each other before. It'll be an okay match. It'll be a nice, and I'm imagining it's starting tonight because it'll get the crowd going because of the New Day. I'm going to pick the Usos to win here by, obviously not clean, but by nefarious means here. Because I just think they're going to want to extend this out as long as they can. So, Mike?
No point to extending it out. Because the next pay-per-view after this is what? Battleground or...
It's Battleground for SmackDown. It's Battleground for SmackDown.
That's usually a co-branded pay-per-view, though. So...
Battleground?
They usually get two. Because it's usually Raw versus SmackDown, but it'll probably be SmackDown.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, though, because in the end, you know what? Why even bother? The New Day is going to win here. They're going to want to get those tag team titles in the New Day as quick as possible anyway. Okay. End game isn't the Usos.
Right.
I think the end game for the New Day is American Alpha. So, and the Usos, look, if it wasn't coming back this month, the Usos would have dropped the title to Breezango last month.
Yeah.
Breezango's the hottest act on SmackDown. And by the way, my picture is freezing again. So, yes, issues again or through. So I don't know how long we're going to last. So I'm just going to make this short and sweet. The New Day are going to win here.
All right, so we differ. Although I think we all agree the New Day is going to win them. If they don't win them here, they're going to win them. So, all right. Next up, we have. I'm sorry, Mike, but you get this match to start. SmackDown Women's Champion Naomi versus Lana.
So this match probably isn't going to be great. God bless him. Little Karibo had a fun thought about this, and the thought was, it was on SmackDown. Kind of complained. Lana kind of just started from nowhere in the title.
Right.
Who was complaining about that? Naomi was complaining about that. fact, that was essentially Naomi's situation. Non-wrestler gets pushed immediately to championship, doing nothing on sideline. Wrestling. Being said, I actually think Lana is going to win the title here. I actually think it's going to be Lana.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, look, it's kind of like a gender situation. It's like, why would you put Lana in this situation?
Yeah.
Besides, she can get heat better than any other female in that division. Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Extends everywhere, backstage and in front of the camera. Ooh, there's an inside joke right there. Anyways.
Yeah.
I think Lana's going to win the title here. There's really no other reason to do this match anyway.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say, well, this is an interesting match because you mentioned the gender thing, and I think it's exactly the same situation. You don't push gender to the top unless you're going to go all the way through with it. It makes no sense. It's like you just fed somebody out essentially to the dogs. You can't do that. Same thing with Lana. They've wanted Lana to be an active wrestler for a long time, and it's been a work. They've taken their time, and look, I think she's going to surprise some people. I don't think she's going to be great in the ring, but I think she's going to surprise some people. She's been working at this for a long time. All right, I think, will she be great? No. Will she be green? Yes. But you know what? I think she's going to surprise some people in that she's going to be a little more competent in the ring than people give her credit for. And yeah, I do think Lana's going to win. I expect her to cheat to win. But you're right. She's going to draw heat, and that's what they want. They need somebody in this division to do that. And I've seen a lot of people say, well, they don't think Lana's going to win because they expect a heel to win the Women's Money in the Bank match, and they thought maybe somebody would cash in on Naomi that night.
Possibility.
It's still a possibility. If they're gonna, if a heel's winning Women's Money in the Bank, and they're gonna do a cash in, obviously Lana's not gonna win, because they're not gonna want to do that. But I honestly don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna see this as a night to establish two stars, Lana and somebody else. So they'll give Lana the title, and I don't think they're gonna do the women's cash in that night. I think they're gonna wait. So, that way they establish two new women's wrestlers instead of one. So I do expect Lana to win here. And what I think will be a short match, which is, on a card that doesn't really have a lot going for it, it's kind of, not what you want. But, the ladder matches should take up enough time. So, but anyway, Lana, I think, is going to win. Yes, I agree. I'm going to say the Money in the Bank matches for last, only because it makes the most sense. So next up, we have WWE Champion Jinder Mahal. Yes, that's still a thing. Versus Randy Orton. Now, okay. We all know Jinder's winning this match. The question is, how is Jinder going to win this match? Because, obviously you can do the whole Randy Orton gets screwed thing with the Bollywood boys and all that kind of stuff. But we already kind of did that already. And we've been doing that. So I kind of think if you do that again, something has to take Randy Orton away from Jinder Mahal. So either you got to start another program here, or you have a similar result to what happened the first time where Jinder's, guys interfere on his behalf. And then you do another rematch on SmackDown where Randy Orton's next feud, takes him away. Either it happens at this pay-per-view or it happens on the next SmackDown. Something has to get Randy Orton's attention away from Jinder Mahal, because this is going to be the last match they have. And we all know Randy's losing here. They're not going to pull the plug on Jinder yet, because then people are going to be shrugging their shoulders like, why did you bother doing it? And I think it'll be an okay match, just like the first match was on last month. It'll be an okay match, and it's probably going to get a lot more time than it should. But yeah, Jinder Mahal is going to win here. Not clean, but he's going to win here. Mike?
Jinder Mahal is going to retain here. They might want to try to get one more month out of this feud. I'm going to say Jinder Mahal is going to retain.
Okay.
They might have Jinder get disqualified. They might have, especially if this match does not go on last. If this match goes on last, Jinder Mahal is definitely getting disqualified, and Randy Orton is definitely laying him out.
Yeah, good point.
Because if this match goes on last, Money in the Bank, a good guy's winning Money in the Bank. Or you know what? It doesn't even have to be a face. It could be either good guy, bad guy. Regardless of what happens, Jinder Mahal is going to retain. If this match goes on before Money in the Bank, I think Jinder Mahal win.
Yeah.
Singh brothers are going to interfere. There might be other interference, but definitely the Singh brothers. Singh brothers. If it goes on after the men's Money in the Bank match, Jinder is going to retain Randy Orton via disqualification, but Jinder might not have the title very long after that. I think in this match, I think it's a disqualification win for Randy Orton.
Okay.
Retains the title.
Yeah. Okay. I think you're 100% right. I think it'll be a giveaway if the men's Money in the Bank match goes on before the main event. I think it's a given that there's going to be a cash-in. Mm-hmm. One of these Money in the Bank matches is going to produce a cash-in that night because they got two of them, and they always like to have one do it. So one of them is going to give a cash-in. It's just a matter of which one it's going to be. All right, I always like to give Mike the Kevin Owens match, and I'm gonna leave that one for last. So I'm gonna do the next one, start the next one, just so he can have the Kevin Owens match, so he doesn't yell at me. And I had a friend. I'm a buddy. So next up, we have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which some people wonder if that could be the main event. I don't think it will be, but they're hyping it up as a co-main event, which they should. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair versus Natalya versus Tamina versus Carmella. And look, it is Money in the Bank, so it just should be the co-main event along with the men's match. So, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. This is going to be a phenomenal match. You know that there's 3 girls in this match that are going to be out there busting their rear. They're all going to work hard, so I shouldn't say that. They're all going to work hard. But there's 3 in particular that, and one that's been in this business company for a while that will have a lot to prove, and they feel like they got to do some crazy spots. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and of course Natalya, who's been in the WWE for a number of years now, and you know that she's going to be so enthused about this match. She's going to be wanting to prove herself. And Charlotte's going to want to prove herself by doing some crazy spot. Becky, same thing. I'm not saying Tamina and Carmella ain't going to do their share. They're going to. But those 3 in particular are going to be the ones you're going to keep an eye on. There's going to be some...
By the way, I'm going to interrupt you right now.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
You know how Natalya, you implied Natalya has been in this company for a long time, is going to want to prove herself in this match. He just described Tamina too.
True. But I guess because Tamina's been injured a lot and she hasn't been around as much.
She's got more to prove then.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, look. They all got something to prove, and this is the first time they're doing this match. It's historic. It's going to be a big deal. That's why I think this match is going to be really good. I think it's going to be a moment, and it's going to be really good for these women. But and they're all going to have something to prove. But we'll see. It's going to be. They're going to give them a lot of time. It's going to be a lot of spots, and I think it's going to be a really cool match to watch. I've heard for months that Carmella's getting a big push. You probably read it everywhere. And I think Ellsworth's going to play a role in this match, and that's why I think Carmella's going to win here. But I'm telling you right now, don't sleep on Natalya. I could see them giving it to Natalya. I really could. because I've heard some. I don't know if people have read some of the dirt sheets, but there's been some dirt sheets that say that people in the back think that giving her the case might be a good idea because it might be the final thing that she needs. They've been putting a lot of trust in her lately. She's been kind of leading that stable, the welcoming committee, and they've been putting a lot more trust in her lately. And I think there's a feeling that if they give her that, that could really cement her as somebody that could really help them going forward here, even more than she already does. So I think Carmella. I still think Carmella's the favorite. And I think Carmella will win it with help from Ellsworth. But I think Natalya is my dark horse here. I think Natalya could win this. So I'll go with Carmella. Mike.
You can't really write off a face either, like Becky or Charlotte. And if that's the case, I believe it's going to be. I think Charlotte is probably the second choice to kind of win this match. So I would take Charlotte because despite Natalya trusting Natalya more to do stuff, Charlotte's the one they really are looking to kind of put over the most here. Not like they haven't already done that an awful lot. It's the one they're going to be thinking about kind of putting over here. That being said, I agree with you. I think this is Carmella's moment because in the bank matches, I think Carmella's going to be the one with the long cash-in.
Yeah.
Holding the case a long time. So it doesn't matter who wins the women's title or who has the women's title. I could be totally wrong. Naomi could retain and they take Carmella tonight. But I think it's going to be Carmella winning. She's going to hold the title for a while. She's going
Okay.
to be Carmella is the one who's winning the case here. It's going to be Charlotte.
Now it does fit. The whole Money in the Bank briefcase thing does fit Carmella's gimmick quite a bit. So I could see why they'd go there. So, but we'll see. That's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a cool match to watch. All right, finally the last match, and again, there's not a whole lot of matches, so that's like I said, we get through these pretty quickly. United States Champion Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura. And this is your men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Go ahead, Mike.
There are only 3 legitimate options for this match. And there are a lot of factors that go into this, but there are only 3 legitimate options for this match, and they are Owens, Sami Zayn, Nakamura. All of these people, I think Shinsuke Nakamura is the red herring. I think Shinsuke is the red herring. But that all comes down to how quickly they want to put the title on Nakamura. They've kind of shoehorned him for WrestleMania. That's his crowning moment. To put him, they're just going to have to kind of stay relevant there. But that being said, I think he might go with a quick cash in tonight. So I don't think it'll be Nakamura. It could be, and I'd give Nakamura I'd give Nakamura about a 40% chance of winning the case. I'm going to say Sami Zayn has a 50% chance of winning the case, especially if Jinder Mahal retains. If Jinder retains, expect Sami Zayn to kind of cash in that night. Sami, he might be the favorite. Might be the favorite, I don't know, but Sami Zayn, unless he gets injured, I just got an email. He could be the guy to kind of they give the case to and maybe build with him. Owens, I'm giving a 10% chance because you can never count out Kevin Owens. If Kevin Owens gets the case, he's going to cash in pretty soon.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say
All right.
Sammy,
So
maybe. Sammy,
yeah.
Owens, or Nakamura.
All right. So a number of months ago, I mentioned to you who I thought was going to win this. Just like Carmella, there was talk of Baron Corbin, right? And then about a week ago, it looked like Corbin was on the outs, even though they were booking Corbin like they usually book all their Money in the Bank winners, losing left and right.
No, he was staying strong, Baron Corbin.
Now, if you look at the odds, so far Corbin's the favorite. Now that could just be because he was speculated the most. We won't really know. As far as the odds go, you won't see that flip until Saturday or Sunday anyway. So I'm not going to read too much into that right now. I think Corbin, you always have to. The only person in this match, the only two people in this match I don't think will win is Ziggler and Styles.
Yep.
Those two are definitely out. There were some people that think, well, maybe that usually WWE does that sometimes. We've had it with Sheamus. We've had it like a couple of times. We've had it where the person you least expect wins it. So Ziggler always has it. Look, we could say that about anybody, okay? I mean, but I think if you look at the way the current landscape is, Ziggler and Styles don't fit. First of all, Styles doesn't need it, okay? And second of all, Ziggler, they gave a chance last summer to push back into the main event, and he failed miserably. So I don't think they're going to go back to that well again, okay? And Styles doesn't need it. Now, you can make the argument Owens doesn't need it. He just held the Universal title for over 6 months. You might be right, but at the same time, Owens right now has that whole Face of America gimmick. They might see this as, all right, you know what? We got Jinder Mahal, but we need we need another top heel. Let's give it to Kevin Owens because he fits our plans to put Shinsuke Nakamura over big at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Now there's people that think that Nakamura shouldn't be in this match unless he's not going to win. You just put Nakamura's going to be on the main roster for 2 months. You put him in this match. He needs to win this match. I don't agree because he's not getting pinned. You can make Nakamura look really strong in this match, and if it's a singles match, I would agree. Nakamura has to win. But this is not a singles match. Nakamura could be caught on the outside, and you can even make it part of the whole Kevin Owens story that Owens takes him out on the outside and goes and wins the case.
Because who's the guy who's actually been losing left and right?
Kevin Owens.
The whole time.
So, you know what? I can see that. I can also – now, Sami Zayn is the guy that I think right now, if you were to ask me who I think Sami Zayn. Because I think what they're going to do, and I hate to say this, I have this theory. You're going to go crazy about it. I haven't heard anything, so don't think this is me hearing any theories, okay? I have this feeling that if Sami Zayn wins it, he's going to lose it to Baron Corbin. I just have – because they've been doing that program, and that program has SummerSlam put up the case for it and all over it. We've seen that game before, and the way that they've always treated Sami as this ultimate underdog, and that's how they've been trying to get him over, right? I could see them going up. Sami Zayn gets a glory moment, wins the case, and then he loses it to Baron Corbin at SummerSlam. Corbin wins it, and then maybe they make that the WrestleMania program where Sami Zayn has to beat Baron Corbin to win the title.
I feel like that won't happen.
I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying that's my fear. I have that fear in the back of my head.
I feel like that won't happen because the only guy getting his glory moment this year at WrestleMania is Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
Whoever's carrying that title into WrestleMania is going to lose it to Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania, which is why Kevin Owens is probably going to pull out Kevin Owens because it's the easiest way to get him the title and get him a substantial reign. So it means a lot with Nakamura off.
Right.
So in the end, it's going to be. This is why I think it could. The other options either Owens or Nakamura.
The thing you got to
wait for Shinsuke.
The thing you got to remember too is this, and keep this in mind. The rumor is that Cena's feud is going to be with Jinder Mahal. Okay, when he comes back
Sure.
on the 4th. If Cena, if they stick to that, and Cena's not going to face like Roman Reigns or something at SummerSlam, okay, and Cena's going to be on SmackDown for the foreseeable future, toiling, Cena will probably win the damn title off of Jinder. And then if that's the case, then Cena's the likely face that's going to be cashed in on. And if that's going to be the case, okay, then you're going to have it be a heel, and the person that's best positioned, and I'm not just saying this because Mike's on the air, the person that's best positioned to pull that off is Kevin Owens.
Guy positioned to pull that off is Kevin Owens.
Because it's going to draw the kind of heat you want. I know you can say Baron Corbin to be a big moment, but I don't know if Baron Corbin's at this point ready for that. Kevin Owens, he's already feuded with Cena. You can bring that all up. You can do that. Kevin Owens gets cashed in on Cena. They have one rematch, and that's the final match Cena has before he goes off into the sunset again until the Royal Rumble, right? And then you have Owens face a few guys to fill up the next few months, and then at the Rumble, you can start setting up the Nakamura-Owens program. So that's what I'm saying. You got to look at what the moving parts here. And right now, the rumor is that Cena is going to face Jinder Mahal. If that's the case, then I think Kevin Owens is the guy that might more than likely win the case if that's what's going to happen, assuming Cena's going to win the title off of Jinder. I would assume that because they're not going to, maybe they have him go over Cena one match on, dirty fashion, but they're not going to have him go over two. There's no way. They can't just keep having Cena lose matches either.
And
so
here's the thing. And just to your point, if Kevin Owens wins the case, to reward Sami Zayn somehow, that could be your thing with Baron Corbin. The United States, they wrestle for the United States Championship.
Right.
And Owens goes from being the face of America to the face of the world.
Yes.
Imagine the marketing. You already have the KO with the American flag. Now imagine the KO with the Japanese flag, the Canadian flag, the Mexican flag, the British flag. KO was the Australian flag. That's literally an excuse to do one of those Suplex City deals.
Right.
City with the city's name that it's on. It's literally an excuse to have your country's flag and Kevin Owens thing.
Right.
It's just being smart.
And then here's the other thing too, just to point this out, because if you let's be hypothetical here, and one of our fans asked this question. So I'm just going to address it right now, so that way we get to one of these questions. The question was, don't you think that a heel has to win the briefcase because they don't really have? Pardon me, I just botched that. Don't you think a heel has to win the case because if a face wins it, you don't really have enough challengers once the face cashes in?
Not wrong.
and they're absolutely right, because here's the thing. Let's say hypothetically, they give it to AJ Styles. Let's just throw AJ in there, okay? All right, so AJ has the case. AJ cashes in on Jinder Mahal. You get one match for Jinder Mahal, maybe two, okay? And then what? You're not going to have him face Orton unless it's a triple threat, because they're both face unless you turn Orton heel again, which at this point seems impossible. You have him face Owens, which you've been doing. But again, after Owens, where do you go? You go to Ziggler. You've already put Ziggler in the main event last year, and it sucked. You go to Baron Corbin. I guess you could go there, but if you didn't think Baron Corbin was if you thought Baron Corbin was ready, you'd stick the briefcase on him. So I don't think I think you're right. I think that the lack of challengers, I think that pretty much means that very likely it has to be a heel. So either you really buy into Baron Corbin, which I could see them doing because I know Vince does, or you go to Kevin Owens, who you know will do something with the case, and is your fail-safe. You know he can go and run with it and put, Nakamura over at Mania, or even Sami Zayn if you want to go there, over at Mania. You have options here. I mean, look, I'm not saying a face you can't get away with a face winning it, but it makes it a little more difficult. And you're going to be pretty much in the same situation that Raw was in last fall when they kind of only had 2 challengers to Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. And they had to drag those feuds out for a few months because they had nobody else to put up there. So, because they had to drag their feet until Jericho. I mean, look, here's the other thing, too. If Jericho's supposed to be back for the next few months, Jericho could be a guy you could have face Owens, immediately insert him right in there just for a match to get Owens over for 1 month. They have the history. Mm-hmm. So you could easily say, oh, we need a guy to face Owens for a month. There's Jericho. Let's do a one-off. So, yeah, I mean, you have options if somebody like Owens wins the title and cashes in or whatever. You have options. So, right now, look, I in the back of my mind, something's telling me Sami Zayn in the back of my mind. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Right now, I say Zayn, Owens, Corbin in that order. That's why I see it. But we'll see. It could change a million times before Sunday. So that's going to be a phenomenal match, though. I mean, that's going to be a crazy good match. The ladder spots and the history between some of these guys. It's going to be great to watch that match. I could totally see why they stick that as the main event, even if they, you know what I mean, that's a main event level match. But we'll see what happens. All right, so I already addressed one question. Let's get to some more questions here as we've gone over the entire card. I have been very disappointed in the way WWE has presented Shinsuke Nakamura on television since his promotion to the main roster. I don't understand the whole artist gimmick, and I don't understand why they keep giving him so much mic time. And one of the few criticisms of Shinsuke Nakamura is that he lacks the kind of mic skills to get him over here in America. What would you guys do to fix Shinsuke Nakamura? And if they continue down this path, do you think they'll ruin all of his popularity and viability?
No, they won't ruin all his popularity and viability. Are they mishandling him now? Yes. It's better on the mic by using the mic a lot. Or is this? English is his second or third.
Right.
He is a native Japanese speaker. The only way you improve as a native speaker is by speaking the language, and he has been. And you know what? He would cut some promos in NXT too. You can't have him do too much in terms of promos at this point in time. But the only way he gets better is and it doesn't matter what he says anyway. Everybody's eating out of the palm of his hand. He's Shinsuke Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
And is the artist thing stupid? Is it the stupidest thing they've ever done? Definitely no.
Yeah.
But is it dumb? Will it help Shinsuke? No. Did it come from Shinsuke himself?
Yeah.
Dude is a freaking artist. I think where a lot of this kind of came from is the fact that all this build and all this hype. The first match we see of him, he goes out and has a competitive 20-minute match with Dolph Ziggler. That match should have lasted 10 minutes. It should have been a glorified squash. That match should have been 10 minutes and a glorified squash, because that is what he has been doing to Kevin Owens since then. He's a viable guy. Dolph Ziggler is just a general job guy at this point in time that people still like, and he sells really well. So you need to kind of back off from the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura. That nickname's dumb, and they know it. They need to kind of go back to presenting him as this larger-than-life rock star. That is exactly what he is. You need to make every moment that he's on screen must-see television. You have to make him special. And when he's And the only time he should really kind of be competitive in these matches is with the major guys: AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton, John Cena. Those are the only guys he should be even competitive with. He should be squashing Dolph Ziggler. If you're gonna do it right. Go hard or go home.
I can't believe you just included Jinder Mahal and those guys. Jinder Mahal just got included with John Cena. I can't believe it.
I didn't say Jinder Mahal.
You did say Jinder Mahal.
I said Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, John Cena, and did I say AJ Styles twice?
You said Jinder Mahal and Baron Corbin too.
I said not Baron Corbin.
Oh, it must. Well, okay. Blame the faulty stream.
But you know what? Yes, Jinder. Because the whole thing with Jinder is you're using him to kind of reach two major audiences.
Right.
The Indian audience and the Indian audience.
Right. Jinder Mahal is a very valuable tool at this point. You can't be you've gone this far with him. You can't just drop the ball with him.
Yeah, you can't put him in a 3-month meaningless feud with John Cena, which he takes 15 pinfalls and makes me look like a complete joke. What do I know?
Yeah. But to your point, you're right. And I think they've already kind of started backing away from the artist thing a little bit because they've been mentioning the whole rock star thing again. Look, here's my thing. I don't mind him getting mic time. Okay? And look, you have to understand, like you said, there is a language thing going on here, okay? I think they're better off. And look, a lot of Shinsuke is Shinsuke, okay? He handles a lot of his own creative things. It's just the way it is. I think they'd be very wise, okay? Not to give him mic time. You have to give the guy mic time. But try to have him be as short and sweet as he can while on the mic. Don't get into these long, drawn-out promo battles because that's not going to suit him. I think it's better off if you have. I mean, he could say some things, yeah, but make it short, very sweet, not some 5-minute like back and forth thing, and go about your business. And like you said, present him like the charismatic rock star kind of character that he is, and you'll be fine. He's got the charisma; he'll be fine. You hit all the nails right on the head. Squat. He shouldn't be having competitive matches with Dolph Ziggler. It's just not the way it should be. Now, look, I don't think he's a complete train wreck. I think his popularity is still there. I just think people are concerned about where he's going because you're seeing things where you're starting to see some red flags where you're like, oh my God, I feel like WWE is heading in the wrong direction with this guy. It hasn't happened yet. But you're seeing the warning signs like, oh God, they're going to screw up this guy. Oh God, you know what I mean? That's kind of where you're at right now.
Shinsuke Nakamura is the one guy you cannot afford to screw up.
Right.
He is the one guy on the roster you can't do that to.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So that's that one. Okay. So let's move on here. Okay, let's take a look at this. Ratings for Raw and SmackDown are weekly hitting new lows. It seems like Vince no longer has any faith in the product when all he does is throw filler shows on the air opposite big events like the NBA Finals or other sporting events. Whatever happened to Vince feeling like his product was good enough to stand up to this other competition? Do you think he's ever going to change his mind about this, or do you think he's just pretty much threw his hands up and given up on the idea that WWE will ever be popular enough to stand with other sporting events on the same night?
It's probably not just Vince McMahon. It's the advertisers. See, go with me on this journey.
Okay, I will.
WWE and the NBA have the same demographic.
Right.
What which of those, the NBA Finals, and I'll even throw this out there, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, are on NBC. They have the same demographic. The advertising agencies focus on that demographic. What do you think it's better ratings? And what do you think has always gotten better ratings in this time of year?
Right.
McMahon is certifiably insane. He is a crazy, crazy motherfucker. Being said, though, those ratings don't lie. Ad money is where they're going to get the highest ratings, where they can get the most eyeballs and the most influence. That being said, they're going to start trying again. EA and the NHL is over, and nobody gives a shit about the MLB until after the playoffs, until after All-Star break.
Right. And even then.
So right now you're in the sweet spot. After Money in the Bank, you're going to start building towards SummerSlam, which means Vince and co are going to give a shit. Which is, and let me put this out there, is usually where he starts giving a shit again.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. This is, and I've read, and look, granted, I haven't followed wrestling as long as you or whatever, but I looked at this, and here's the thing, folks. Vince has always done this, and it's not like he didn't try. He's very strategic. If he doesn't think the audience is going to be there to watch, or if he doesn't or as far as a live crowd, if he doesn't like the way the live crowd's reacting, he will change plans and not do big things because he doesn't want people. He doesn't want it to go on in front of a bad crowd, nor does he want it to go on in front of an audience that isn't an audience that isn't up to peak. Why are you going to do a big angle if the audience, if people aren't watching, if they're watching something else?
And that crowd on Monday was pretty shitty.
They were. But here's the thing. Like you don't, now some people might say, well, if you do it, people might hear on, especially in this age of social media, might hear and tune in. By that point, it's too late. Okay? By that point, it's too late. You don't do that. That's why they heavily promote. That's why you don't get too many surprise returns anymore, because they need the ratings. They promote it. So here's the thing, okay? He saw what he did on Monday. The biggest money segment that they had was the Lesnar Samoa Joe segment. What time would that air? 8 o'clock, before the game started. He knew the audience would be there at the top of the show, and it was. And he put the segment that mattered the most on in that segment. So it's like, all right, this is all that matters this week. This is the big segment we need. People will be there to watch it, and before they start getting caught up in something else. And he was 100% right. We see it during football season. What happens after SummerSlam? It kind of dies off a little bit until, right around maybe Survivor Series. And then even then it drops off until after the football season's over. Then once football season's over, it's WrestleMania season, and every week is a big deal. He has to work around. I mean, look, wrestling is never going to – wrestling is on a completely different plane. It's never going to stand up to the bigger sports. It's just not going to happen. So you're better off working around it, doing the best you can, and that's about it. Because Raw was getting better for a few weeks there. It was getting better, and now, right now, the last couple of weeks, they're going out there against the NBA Finals. You react accordingly. And Mike brought it up too, and we brought it up, I think, the last time we did a show, wrestling show. WWE Creative is in the pits right now. All right? Admittedly.
That's the thing too, yeah.
I mean, look, it's been admitted in dirt sheets that they've been doing multiple guy matches on Raw because they're burnt out. Last year they couldn't afford to be burnt out because they were doing a brand split. But if you look at most years after WrestleMania, April, May, the latter half of April, May, and June can be pretty damn rough. It's just the way it always goes. It's like everybody's burnt out, they don't want to bother, and nobody really wants to try anything until around June, Money in the Bank, and then they start getting ready for SummerSlam, and then they start thinking about WrestleMania, and then that's it. It goes from there. It's the way it goes every year. Last year was an anomaly because they couldn't afford to be like that because of the brand split. They were getting ready for it. So it is what it is. Just deal with it. And look, ratings are a tricky slope because ratings for everything are down. That's the thing. But you could use these numbers to suit your own to fit your own narrative. Like, oh wow, the wrestling's dying, WWE sucks, blah blah blah. Ratings for everything is down. Everything across the board in prime time. Ratings are all down across the board. We're in a different era now. People have more ways to watch TV, DVRs, online. Maybe they don't even want to watch the whole program. They go to YouTube and watch the parts they want to watch. We've been down this road before. I'm not going to go down it again. It's not always just the quality of the program. I know, yeah, Raw wasn't very good on Monday night, okay? But it's about more than that. There's so many other factors. And that's not making excuses. That's facts. So, all right. We'll do 2 more, and then we're going to be done. With John Cena coming back on the 4th of July, what do you think is the best use for him during his upcoming stint?
John Cena, Roman Reigns build.
I'm going to be honest with you. I agree with you, by the way. But I think, a lot of people thought that's where they might be going, okay? Because that's why they did the whole free agent John Cena. Because if you're going to do that almost implies you're thinking already about him having a feud with somebody on Raw. So, of course, everybody naturally assumes Roman Reigns. Well, would you really do Roman Reigns versus Cena at SummerSlam? And yeah, you would, because here's the thing. We've done that before where you've had big matches at SummerSlam, and sometimes they even carry over to WrestleMania. Didn't Cena and Batista face off for the first time at SummerSlam?
Yep.
And then it carried over to WrestleMania. So you could easily have a Cena-Reigns feud start, have the first match at SummerSlam, and then have a second one at WrestleMania. Wouldn't be the first time you repeated it.
Especially if you want Roman to have yet another glory moment at WrestleMania. Well, maybe Cena should beat him at SummerSlam.
Yeah. You have Cena win at SummerSlam, and then you have Roman beat him at Mania. Much as I hate that, but it's the truth. That's how you work it. Do it. So
50-50 booking, and it's terrible, but it's how you get around it. Right.
So I think that would be the best use of John Cena because that's a money match. They'll sell the pay-per-view. You're already going to have Brock versus Strowman, which is coming. So you got that as a big match. So that would be, that would sell the pay-per-view. And, it gets Roman Reigns doing something relevant that would be interesting and gets Cena going. And it'd be a program that everybody would be on board for, I think. So that would be the best use of. Now, if that's not on the table and that's something that they only consider for WrestleMania, I don't like Cena versus Jinder Mahal because I don't think you should cut Jinder off at the knees for this. Right? I don't think you should cut him off right now. So I don't know where you go with Cena. Do you have him feud with Owens for the U.S. title? I don't know where you would go with Cena. If he's a free agent, then I think his best use, his best use is probably on Raw at this point. Maybe you have him go to Raw and face Samoa Joe, which was a match that they were talking about doing for WrestleMania. Maybe that would be a use of him. Good use of him. Especially since Samoa Joe's facing Brock Lesnar. It wouldn't be that much of a downgrade. He goes from Lesnar to Cena. That would be a, nice little, next match for him. Something like that would be good for Cena. All right, last question. Then we're done. Let's see here. Oh, I just brought it up, so let's just go ahead and do it. It's a nice, short, quick question. Do you think WWE was wrong to go to the Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe match this quickly in Samoa Joe's main roster run?
I can't predict the future because this question heavily depends on the finish of that match. No, right at this moment, because it's making Joe look like he's on Brock's level. It makes Joe look like an absolute beast. That match is going to determine an awful lot now, will it? No. So,
I think they did. Because obviously, I think they did. Because first of all, I didn't think he had a chance to win this match. I thought it was going to be Rollins or Bell because they fit that would have fit the mold of what they wanted for this pay-per-view, which was a filler match. Now, because we ultimately Brock is going to retain here because you're facing Strowman for the title. That's the issue here. To me, Samoa Joe, this kind of specialty match, and this is like a specialty match in a way because of the aura that you have around Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe already lost to Seth Rollins. I thought was stupid, but you've already had him.
They portrayed it as a fluke.
Yeah, I know, but still, I don't want to see him lose here. Now, granted, like you said, it depends on how they book this match, and maybe Samoa Joe still comes out looking okay. I don't know. This kind of match is the aura around it, the way it's being built, doesn't seem like something that should be on the pay-per-view that it's going to be on. I know not just because of the name, but because of the placement. It feels like it should be a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series or a Royal Rumble. It feels like it should be a big match, big deal, pay-per-view, big match.
Also because of the name.
Also because of the name, yes. And I kind of feel like if you're going to do this, I feel like, you're building Samoa Joe as one of these next wave of monsters. Him and Braun Strowman are kind of in the same boat here. They're trying to build both these guys up as superhuman monster-type heels. Okay? And to do that, you have to have them go over, guys. You can't just have them lose. And, I don't know if I would have went to Samoa Joe here, knowing that I got Braun Strowman here, and we're already kind of thinking about him in this particular feud and having him maybe beat Brock Lesnar. I don't know if I would have went to Samoa Joe here. The timing of it, I don't know if I'm in love with it. I want the match. I think the match is going to be fantastic. It's going to be an awesome match to watch. I'm not saying that I regret it. I just don't know if I would have went to it. I think it is a little too soon. But then again, if Brock's done in April, you might not have the other chance to do it again. So, All right, that's it. We got through 5. It's more than I thought we were going to do, so we're done. That's it. If we didn't get to one of your questions or comments, we apologize. Obviously, they're always time permitting. We always hold on to them. We keep them, so if they're relevant on a future wrestling show, we'll bring them back up. Because I go through all the old ones. If I see something that's still relevant, I go back and read it out, and we address it. But you know what? You can always submit the question or comment you have again, or submit another question or comment in the future. Again, always depends on time, so don't be offended if we didn't get to your question or comment. And don't be deterred. Continue to send your questions and comments in. And like I said, it's always time permitting. If we have time, we'll get to them. We don't, it is what it is. So, but thank you to all of you that submitted questions and comments, and keep doing it in the future, and hopefully one time you'll get your question or comment addressed. All right, so with that being said, that's it for tonight. As always, the show might be over. Does not mean you have to stop interacting and contributing to the show. Continue to have your voice heard. Send us your feedback. We need it. We want it. Keep sending it in. Topic ideas or breaking news items related to sports, entertainment, wrestling they want us to cover. Questions about the show and the scheduling of the show, reactions, comments, opinions, things we talked about in the show, things we said. Any of these things you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. Of course, if you something to do with wrestling, you can also use hashtag ITSWrestling as well. If you feel free to use that. If you want to use that, you can use that. You can also find us on Facebook. To search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our page once you're on it or once you find it. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest information about the show, especially when it comes to scheduling. Obviously, last-minute postponements, delays, and such can happen. That's where we post the information most of the time, if we have to. Obviously, if there's something in advance I know about, I'll tell you on the show, and you won't have to worry about that. But obviously, follow us on Facebook and Twitter so you can get the latest information about the show, including about scheduling. And of course, we also post random things on there as well. So make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter so you have access to all that and much more. So just search for In the Spotlight 401 and make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes, you have 2 ways in which to do that. You can stream us anytime you want on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. And when you do that and you find our show pages on both sites, you'll have access to every episode we ever produced for Google Plus and YouTube. That's every episode from mid-October 2015 all the way up until tonight's episode. So if you're interested and you want to, if you're interested in those episodes, then feel free to stream us. Just search for In the Spotlight 401 on Google Plus and YouTube, and you'll be able to stream us anytime you wish. And that'll be cool for you. If you want to do that and that works for you, then you'll have the luxury of doing that. If you're not a fan of streaming and maybe you prefer to listen to us on the go, maybe interested in older episodes of the show, you can If any of that pertains to you, you can check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites. And when you do, you'll have access. When you get to our show pages on both sites, you have access to every episode we've ever done. Nearly 7 years we've been doing this show. That's everything from our original Blog Talk Radio run from October 2010 to January 2011. Everything from our Talk Show run from January 2011 all the way up to mid-October 2015. And, of course, all of our Google Plus and YouTube episodes from mid-October 2015 all the way up until tonight's episode are available to you as well and transfer into audio format for your convenience. So you have access to all those as well. All episodes in order from the most organized from the most recent to the oldest. So maybe you're a longtime fan and wants to check out an episode from 4 years ago, or a new fan wants to check out an episode like that for the first time, missed a Parliament episode, want to check out an episode again. Keep up with current episodes if any of that applies to you, or maybe just a fan of listening instead of seeing us on screen. Maybe you don't want to look at our faces on screen or something. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, if any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Podbean and iTunes. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, always keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, always keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Just search for In the Spotlight 401. Again, search for In the Spotlight 401 and you have access to all of those episodes. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
Literally time for bed.
Thank myself, another great show. Pat myself on the back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching, and to those that will be watching or listening to this later, thank you to you as well. I apologize. I kind of rushed through at the end there, and I kind of stumbled a little bit, but it's been a long day, long night, long week. So thank you for bearing with me on that and for the technical problems and the tardiness tonight. So thank you for all of your patience and understanding in regards to all of that. That is it for tonight. Again, next week, one show, Tuesday night. That's this Tuesday night. June the 20th, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, streaming live here on YouTube. That is our next show. It'll be a sports, entertainment, wrestling combo show. Box office beat, TV highlights. We'll talk about the fallout from WWE Money in the Bank and Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, all that kind of stuff on Tuesday. If there's anything big from the U.S. Open, we'll talk about it. NBA draft preview, all that on Tuesday. And next Thursday, we are preempted for the NBA draft. So that's what's coming up next week. Until next week, I hope you have a great rest of your night, a great weekend, and a great start to week next week. We'll see you back here this coming Tuesday night, June the 20th, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, streaming live here on YouTube Live. That is our next show is. Until then, good night, everybody.